Hi there, it's Catherine here from Inky Finger Cat, back with another Christmas in July project, and I decided it was time to play with the wreath builder again, and this time using the Paperartsy Darcy stamps. These are my favourite holly leaves ever. I just love them. And I decided to use my Concord and Ninth inks, so double stamping each of the leaves just to make sure they've got a nice strength of ink colour down, and going round with the large stamp in all 8 positions for the wreath builder. And then I decided that I was also going to go around again with it in a slightly different position. This is me umming and ahhing about what to do, but I decided that actually what I'm going to do is stamp it onto a post-it note, cut it out, and then use a mask. Then I can actually put one leaf in between the others, but because they're masked out, it looks like it's behind. So you'll see what I mean in a minute. I do use slightly different holly leaf, I think, for this. I think I used the smaller one, and this time going in a different colour green. And you can see there, each time I'm just moving one mask along so that I can stamp it and it's not going to go over the top of the darker coloured one. So this creates quite a pretty wreath design, and doesn't really need a huge amount doing to it, really. I mean, you could absolutely leave it like this, stamp a sentiment in the middle, job's a good one. But obviously we know I'm not going to just do that, so I do put that to one side, but then I decide, bit of clean up, I decide what I actually want to do is just move that ink about a little bit with some water. And apologies, I did this in a slightly, like a little while later, and forgot to zoom out on my camera, so I know you can't see some of what I'm doing. But I'm basically just going around each one and watercolouring it, moving the ink about, which does slightly move the text, but other than that, it just adds some colour and some definition to each of the leaves a little bit better. I had put a little bit of ink down on the table. Right, then I decide, right, I've got another smaller piece of cardstock that's rather than 5x5, it's 4x4 in size. And I think, well, I'm going to do the same with that one. Apologies, I keep knocking the camera. This time I'm again using the same Concord and Ninth inks from that set that I bought earlier in the year, but this time I am doing it in a lighter colour. I think this is eucalyptus, and this time I'm just going to create a nice pale little one, using the smaller of the holly leaves. So I did need a different mask for this one, and it's in a slightly different position, so it's slightly more wreath shaped rather than fanned out, which the other one is obviously quite fanned out. And I hope I speed this up a little bit here. Well, I did speed it up, but you've still got quite a bit to see me doing because obviously it's a bit fiddly. So after I have stamped all the way round, I decided to do exactly the same thing as I had done on the big one, and that is use some water and a brush just to move the ink around a little bit. Again, I did put some onto the glass mat to pick up, but yeah, it's just about colouring in a little bit, but I do it in quite a loose way, and again, it does smudge some of the text in those stamps, but it's still perfectly visible that there's text in there. So now I'm deciding how to finish off, and I decided to go and grab those dies that I've already die cut. These are from the Joy set of dies, and they have the coordinating stamps is the Peace and Joy. So I'm going to add those in as well, but I'm just going to keep them as really flat cards. So you can see there I had inked around the edges. The first time I inked around the small one was in the coordinating ink, but I do end up trimming it down and adding the darker ink to that. The larger one I did go around with that darker colouring. I think it's called Rainforest. I did decide as well on that lighter one to just add in some berries in the pink. with hindsight, I wish I'd added more of them, to be honest. I think it needs more rather than just the 3. I sort of treated them as if they were like sequins or gems or something, and yeah, I'm not so happy on the placement of them. But you know what? It's still really cute. I'm not going to go back in and start adding them now. So for the smaller one, I used this scrap that I'd got. Well, it isn't a scrap, but it's a not a complete piece of A4 cardstock, and I cut myself a 4x4 card blank, and on the other one, just a plain 6x6 card blank. So I hope you enjoyed those. Please do give me a thumbs up if you did, thumbs down if you didn't, comment below, etc. Please subscribe to see more, and until next time, goodbye.